Britain awoke to chilling scenes this morning as details began to emerge of a sickening attack on innocent members of the public that left 3 victims dead in the university city of Nottingham. 2 19-year-old students and a man in his 50s were slaughtered by a 31-year-old in the early hours of this morning, with 3 more victims recovering in hospital. The West African migrant, who GB News has reported has a history of violence, used both a knife and a stolen truck as weapons in the barbaric attacks. So, Nigel, with the suspect's immigration record and criminal history potentially going to be in the spotlight, terrified Brits rightly asking if we're safe on our streets.
Well, of course we're not. We haven't been for a very, very long time. I mean, and this affects, by the way, all strata of society. I mean, the wealthy in London now don't wear a watch, don't walk around the smart parts of Chelsea or Kensington wearing a watch, or you'll get bashed over the head with a pipe with lead in the end of it, and you watch nicked. For the super wealthy, they are now followed home from smart London restaurants, and as they put the key in the door gets pushed in. So this affects everybody, rich or poor, wherever they are. You think London's bad? Pro rata, there's more knife crime in Birmingham than there is in London. So we have a very, very major problem that exists already. And the argument, of course, is we shouldn't be adding to it by allowing in large numbers of undocumented young males, particularly when ISIS boasted, Dan, in 2015, they would use the Mediterranean as a means of getting their operatives into Europe, something that I think gets forgotten all too easily. What has happened in Nottingham is ghastly, utterly ghastly in every way. But something else is going on here. GB News was the first, through Martin Daubney, to have video this morning of what was happening. GB News was the first of all the news channels to identify that it was a West African migrant with a history of violence. The other channels still aren't really saying that. The police just say it's a suspect. Nottinghamshire police have put out a tweet showing a hand with a handcuff on it, a white arm with a handcuff on it, saying we've arrested someone. Anybody with any information, please come forward. When the description is it was a 31-year-old with dreadlocks and with rather darker skin. What are the establishment trying to hide? Why do the police call this person a suspect? Why do the Nottinghamshire police put out a symbol that it's a white person? What is going on here? Well, I'll tell you what's going on here. They do not want a full debate about who we might be letting into our country. And by the way, we're letting in some very fine people too. And nobody here is attempting to scapegoat. That's always the cheap, lazy, left-wing response. What we are saying is that those that come into our country have to be checked. We have to know who they are, or they must not be able to stay. We've built up for ourselves an enormous problem. The police have virtually abdicated the streets in many, many areas. Punishments don't fit the crime. We're not in a good place.
No, indeed.